Network Entertainment.
Syempre, these things in the WWE context, they kind of do, they do it slowly and safely. And natupad naman yung violence sa may dulo. So, bumawi naman siya. I thought it was a pretty good match.
I love that spot na AJ was gonna springboard, then tinapunan siya ng chair ni Cody, and for some reason he ended up landing on the table, which only AJ Styles can do.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey
everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov. This is Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening...
To the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Ro Moran, and Emil Nate checking in for our Picks of the Week episode. And if you haven't checked out our weekend reactions yet, where we talked about Clash at the Castle and really broke it down, probably more than any PLE since WrestleMania. You can check that out on your feeds. It's already up there. Pati yung episode 3 of our Wrestling Fan 101 mini-series where we answer the question, why you still watch wrestling even though it's fake? That's also up on your feeds. But if you're here for the picks of the week, then you've come to the right place because we've got our favorite matches from the week that was right here in this very episode. And spoiler alert, 80% of them are from Clash at the Castle, Scotland. I mean, no surprises there, diba?
I mean, marami sa nangyari. And let's be real, we don't get to catch everything, try as we might. So as much as I wanted to pick something from AEW, I didn't get to catch AEW's weekend slate, unlike Emil here. But the good thing is Clash wasn't a bad show, wrestling wise.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you were there for the wrestling and if you caught it, well, not live, if you caught it on demand and you were able to fast forward through all of the plugs, all of the video packages not related to the PLE, it's actually a tight show at just under 2 hours. So, before we get to our picks from Clash at the Castle, let's get to Chino's pick, which is from TNA Against All Odds. So it was the Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace, one-on-one against Tatum Paxley from NXT. So, sabi ni Chino, this match was a really good example of how both companies could benefit from one another. And he wishes that they told a longer story here, but he appreciated the payoff between Jordynne Grace and Tatum Paxley, which they actually set up in a backstage vignette at NXT. He appreciated that the payoff was actually at a TNA pay-per-view. Nagustuhan rin ni Chino how Tatum Paxley, who's a relative newcomer, she's one of those athletes from the PC tryouts na hindi galing sa independent wrestling scene. She's a former powerlifter or bodybuilder. So he appreciates how Tatum Paxley, being a relative newcomer to the scene, gets to be the first one to cross the line over to TNA and get a championship match. In terms of match quality, it was kind of weird since Tatum Paxley is an unorthodox character wrestler, but Jordynne Grace is able to route Tatum Paxley pretty easily while still allowing it to be a competitive contest. And he can't wait to see more of these crossovers happen.
Okay, so I saw the pay-per-view, saw the entirety of it, and I have to say na medyo they really did TNA and Tatum Paxley dirty here. When Tatum Paxley came out to answer yung open challenge ni Jordynne Grace, it was total crickets, crickets when she came out, as in nobody knew who the fuck this was. If I'm guessing there were people who saw NXT in that crowd, and if they did, di pa rin sila nag-react. As in tahimik na tahimik when Tatum Paxley came out. For me, it made sense because I watched NXT, right? I knew what happened at Battleground. like I knew what happened in NXT as well. Nung lumabas sila lumabas si Ash by Elegance, and then Tatum Paxley came out to stop the whole thing, right? And it was just not good for them. Mostly because Tatum Paxley is literal huyu pa rin siya when it comes to the stars of NXT. And despite not being NXT 2.0 anymore, this version of NXT is still not the same as Black and Gold. So it doesn't have as much cultural cash with the fans as like Black and Gold did. So it was really, really rough out there for her. Yung sinasabi ni Chino na medyo weird yung match, kind of was. I wish it was someone else that they sent. Like, sana si Mia Yim na lang, diba? It made more sense because Mia Yim recently was with TNA before she signed back with WWE, right?
Yeah, may history siya from years ago.
Exactly. Why couldn't it have been her instead? So it was rough. I wouldn't say bad. It was just rough because another thing is that the TNA crowd really, really sucks. I do not understand why they are so bad. And considering this was Chicago, it only yung only justification I could find was that TNA is not good enough to have a hot crowd. It's not consistent enough to have a hot crowd. Something about it makes the crowds really quiet, except for when it's like the big stars, like sina Matt Hardy, sina Mustafa Ali. Yung mga ganun, parang ang tahimik talaga nila. I don't understand why. But here's how Jordynne Grace is really good. Like, by the end of the match, she got people to care about her wrestling Tatum fucking Paxley. So nabuhayan sila nung dulo when she was dominating, when she was throwing Tatum Paxley around. And by the time they got to the end, normal levels of noise. It wasn't like, oh, blow the roof off the place levels, but it was like a normal match, like a normal TV match. So that's how good Jordynne Grace really is, for those who don't understand yet.
Yeah, I think TNA was banking on the crowd to know what happened before.
But it's exactly.
Like you said, like you said, I don't think they know. But I think kasi the commentary explained naman why Paxley is the one, or Paxley answered the challenge because what happened in Battleground. Like they explained what happened, and they explained the purpose of Tatum Paxley coming over to TNA. But I don't think the crowd really got that. It didn't help na Tatum had some sort of a generic music. And, and they didn't really flash her name sa Tron. It was just some random graphic. And parang naghintay yung tao na lumabas siya. And some did recognize her, but again, it was total crickets. I kind of agree. The match was okay, was fine. Para sa akin, nag-stand out talaga how good Jordynne Grace is. I mean, she's a champion for a reason. I wish sana it was someone from the main roster who answered that open challenge, but again, they already created this story, so they had to follow it up. But I wish this is not the last time as well. Jordynne Grace will wrestle someone from the WWE.
All right. Let's get to our picks from Clash at the Castle, because everybody else picked matches from the PLE in Scotland. We're going to start with Rowan, who picked the I Quit match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles for the undisputed WWE Championship. So sabi ni Rowan, the match exceeded his expectations, and there were things he wanted to see, like weapons being used, fighting in the crowd, but he didn't expect both men to get busted wide open. So for him, it was a great visual, and it made the I Quit match a violent, all-out war type of brawl. Kala rin niya, yung involvement ni Mama Rhodes would be a factor in Cody losing. Like, say, the OC would gang up on Cody, they'll attempt to smash Cody with the steps, and force Mama Rhodes to throw in the towel. He was also wondering nasaan sina Gallows and Anderson because they weren't able to help out AJ. And then sabi niya it was weird that AJ had to align himself with the Good Brothers again, only to not get help from them in an I Quit match of all things.
Oh, man.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they were nowhere to be found in I Quit match. Sabi rin ni Rowan, he thought they were going to redo the Cena Miz Swerve finish from Over the Limit 2011, where they would play the clip of
Jesus
Cody saying,
Christ.
I quit.
Would not let that go.
Only for it to be like an audio clip. So yeah, this is something that Rowan kept harping on in live stream. Either way, sabi ni Rowan, he enjoyed the match despite not seeing this audio clip finish that he wanted to see.
See?
Really? You want to see that?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm telling you. He keeps saying these things without explaining why. Uh no, but action was good. It kind of started out slow. I wanted death match levels of violence, but they built up to it. And Shepard, these things in the WWE context, they kind of do they do it slowly and safely. And natupad naman yung violence sa may dulo. So bumawi naman siya. I thought it was a pretty good match.
I love that spot na AJ was gonna springboard, then tinapunan siya ng chair ni Cody, and for some reason he ended up landing on the table, which only AJ Styles can do. I don't think anyone can do that spot other than AJ. I then na pag-usapan lang din naman natin sa weekend reactions yung finish, which is like I said, it makes sense. I like the finish. If they did what Rowan wanted, that would not, like, we would talk about how shitty the finish would have been. Because I don't like that. I'm gonna tell Rowan why. I'm gonna ask Rowan why he wanted this.
No, man, ask him right here on the record in front of everyone. Put the kid on blast.
I like on Thursday pag nandun siya sa live, so I'm gonna ask him this. Remind me. But yeah, this was a great opener. This was actually the opener. Yung Clash at the Castle. It riled up the crowd by the end, and helped the crowd maintain its energy throughout the night.
Yeah, I mean, it's Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, diba? What could go wrong? And it's kind of weird seeing Cody Rhodes as champion being in the opening match at Clash at the Castle. Pero nagets ko diba? You're in Scotland. It was supposed to be Drew McIntyre's evening, and there was no other logical main event choice but Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. So I also think na Cody and AJ knew their role. Kasi kahit nasabihin mo na it was for the WWE Championship, opening match pa rin yun eh. So they knew na they shouldn't like suck all of the energy and the momentum away from the rest of the crowd, and I think they did just that. I think it would be super tricky din to be in that spot na it's an I Quit match. It's for the biggest prize in the company, pero opening match ka, diba? So how do you toe the line and strike that balance? And medyo behind the curtain type of conversation na to, diba? But Cody and AJ managed to do it. It really says a lot about how professional these guys are. Syempre, it's a very well produced show. You've got agents and producers also making sure na everything is in check heading into putting this show together. So yun lang, just a lot of compliments for everybody involved kasi nga it didn't steal the thunder from everybody else in that show. That match actually went like 35 minutes, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was long.
It was pretty long. So there. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll finish off with our picks of the week from Clash at the Castle Scotland. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network.
Hi there, my name is Earl, and I'm the host of Philippine Campfire Stories. After this episode that you're listening to, baka naman gusto mong mag-check ng mga horror stories sa mga folklore and urban legends na nangyayari sa Pilipinas. Mga true horror stories shared in a manner na hindi ka naman matatakot pero ma-entertain ka. Go ahead and check out Philippine Campfire Stories, and we have over 200 episodes just waiting for you. See you there!
Let's get to Emile's pick, which is, surprise, also from Clash at the Castle Scotland.
And so my pick is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship triple threat match with the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Ala Dawn going up against Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, and the champions coming into the match, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I like this match because of how fast-paced it was. Sobrang non-stop yung action, which is rare because usually in a Bianca Belair or Jade Cargill match, they would take their time, to pace through the match, to get to their spots. But this one, talagang non-stop sila dito, and it helped that you got veterans like Shayna, Zoe, who was great in this match, and then you got the eventual winners, the champions, who this was kind of their breakout moment because up until this point, parang wala pa silang signature main roster moment or signature main roster match. So this was perfect. In front of their hometown, they got to reintroduce themselves to the people who's watching main roster WWE, and they did well. Like Alba Fire, minsan nakakalimutan ko na she's one of the best that UK has to offer. I mean, she was the NXT UK champion for a while back when NXT UK was a thing, and Isla Dawn did her thing as well. And then mas nag-shine talaga sa akin si Alba Fire dito. She was the MVP of this match. There was a spot where she took parang nag-dive siya dun sa outside of the ring, and it popped the crowd. That was the loudest I think the crowd was at that point in that match. So yeah, I like the finish, and hindi ko napansin yung sinasabi yung Rose before we went on recording. We were talking about the botch that in the last minute. He thought something was off, and I didn't notice it again because I really enjoyed that match. But I'm sure Ro is going to talk about it after this. So, but again, this was a very enjoyable match. Glad that they put the tag team titles. And at least kahit natalo si Drew and si Piper Niven, there's a team na at least hometown nanalo din sila. So it was a nice hometown pop for Alba Fire and Aladon.
Hey, if we didn't notice it, then it means that they did their job. Maayos pa rin yung pag-wrestle nila. But they kind of got Jade specifically kind of got frazzled by the final minute there. I will agree that for the most part, it was wrestled really well. Fast-paced action kasi there were 6 women in the ring. Then 3 of them at the same time. Diba? So you do have to be fast there. And I feel like after Jade kind of fumbled the springboard, she got rattled there, and then parang wala na siya. There was a big thing that they did where Shayna got her in the rear naked choke and the career foot of clutch, and then she was trying to tap yung arm of Shayna. I think because Shayna had it on too tight, but the commentators kept drawing attention to the fact that she was doing a tapping motion. So it is kind of that is a tap out, all things considered. Medyo tap out siya. So buti na lang kahit light siya, it is a tap out. So she has to be careful there about that kind of motion. If she was trying to get Shayna to back off, she should have just tried to peel off yung hold niya. So I think from there it really just got messy, and it medyo nawala yung momentum nila. But if you didn't notice that, then that's pretty good as well. Then they did their jobs there. But the rest of it, the first parts, it was pretty okay. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed them and the spectacle of it. The fact that you had a women's tag team championship defense, which these women's tag team championship matches have been happening more often than both sets of men's tag team championships. Just had to point that out. Also the fact that Bianca and Jade, just the sheer magnitude of their star power. I was expecting na medyo tatagal pa yung reign nila, but given that we were in Scotland and given what would go on to happen in that show, gets good in it why Alba Fire and Isla Dawn had to win the titles. So I'm not really surprised with what happened, and I actually like this. I mentioned this na sa weekend reactions, but I love this moment for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Obviously, it's not going to make up for the grief that Alba Fire is going through in her personal life. But it's always nice in wrestling to at least have these moments where you have somebody from that home country actually winning a huge championship in front of their fans. So again, congratulations to the Unholy Union, our new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
Stan, correct me if I'm wrong, but di ba sila yung first tag team to hold the WWE Women's and the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships?
Sila ba?
Or no?
I'm trying to think kung sila ba.
I think it was unified.
The KCs.
Yeah, the KC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance actually got to do that before them. But Alba Fire and Isla Dawn did try to unify them, pero natalo sila nina Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Yeah, so that must be the confusion. Let's go to my pick, Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. I'll keep this quick because we talked about this quite a bit na nung weekend reactions. Sami and Chad Gable have very good chemistry naman, diba? I think that's no secret, and I loved yung technical showcase that Chad Gable was able to put on here. I think Sami, always excels naman talaga as the underdog babyface despite him being the bigger wrestler here. So the fact that I was able to forget that Sami was actually the bigger wrestler says a lot about how they were able to establish Chad as having the some sort of physical advantage over Sami. I loved how fluid they were. And the story beats that they tried to hit with Otis and Maxine, even Tozawa, who wasn't there, but he was mentioned in Countdown to Clash at the Castle. They were able to check those boxes naman. Overall, it was a fun, emotional journey. And I think this this expectation that we all had, that Chad Gable should win, I think that's the only thing that would take away from the result. Because if you didn't expect that Chad Gable would win, you would actually be, I think you would feel some sort of like catharsis coming out of it. Parang, Chad Gable, you're the asshole, you're the heel. Sucks on you na natalo ka, diba? Deserve mo yan. So I think yun lang. I think if you watch this without the expectation that Chad Gable would or should win the IC title, it would actually be much better on the rewatch.
Yeah, easy. Sorry, go ahead, Emil.
No, so ito yung match na miss ko when I watched it live. But then when I saw the reactions of the people online after the show, they said it wasn't as good as the previous matches. And then on the rewatch when I watched it again earlier today, I thought this was a great match. I don't know what people were talking about. And one storytelling bit that I love from this match is that Sami Zayn at this point, I think the reason why Chad Gable couldn't beat Sami Zayn at this point is because Chad Gable trained him so much during the build-up to WrestleMania. And at this point, Sami Zayn is just there's this nag-level up si Sami Zayn. That's why Chad had to resort to his Alpha Academy buddies trying to cheat to get him the win kasi he can't beat Sami on his own at this point. And I love that the reason why he can't beat Sami Zayn at this point is because he trained him to be that. And that's the way I saw it, and that's why I love this rivalry. And then also I think nasabi ko to kanina, hindi, like nag-shift yung focus dito in this time with the storytelling around Alpha Academy, because the first time was really just about technical wrestling. These Sami and Chad just showcasing their skills, and now the clash match was a little bit different because there's already a story involved, and I think it made the rivalry, it made the match a little bit better than the first meeting that they had nung sa Montreal. So I don't know if there's going to be another match down the line between these two. All I know is people are clamoring for Chad Gable to win the IC title. So I hope there's another match down the line.
Easy match of the night. I don't care about which match was better from before. Like that doesn't matter. Only yung show that it's on matters as the context of a match. So it was easily the match that people got to care about the most, aside from the main event. So because of that, it was easily the show stealer, the show thief of the evening. So I was going to pick this. I was very close to just sharing the pick with Stan here. But di na lang kasi nangyari naman yung main event. And maganda yung main event.
So let's talk about that main event, Ro.
Yeah, that's my pick of the week. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. So there was a big botch. Damian Priest tried to do his step up springboard tope to the outside, but he got caught on the rope. His foot got caught, and these things happen, man. It really just happens in wrestling. Di mo na asahan. This guy has done this move so many times before. And it just so happened that one of these days, or if this was one of those nights, something wrong just had to happen. And that made the match even better. Like, Damian Priest ended up having to kind of wrestle on one leg. He had to sell. He was hurting for sure. I'm sure he was really hurting. But syempre, he sold that. Like, it's funny to say sold when you know they're hurting. So he was really showing that damage from that strange accident, and that made it all the much better. Na you would think that, okay, Drew, it's kay Drew na to. Damon Priest is on one leg. Drew's hitting harder than ever, his hardest, because he's trying to win the championship at home in Scotland. And then the final moments of the match was really good. It's the bloodline type interference, pero syempre, it's not the bloodline type interference as well. It only seems that way. Punk comes out, he shows up to spoil the big moment in Drew. Nung una ko nakita, akala ko, what the fuck is this guy doing? Why is he dressed up like a referee? Only to realize, okay, he's not really gonna count the win. He was just there to really fuck over Drew McIntyre and throw him off for the eventual balls shot, diba? And then Damon Priest wins the championship match relatively cleanly. Siyempre, di naman niya pinlano yung interference, diba? It just happened. So everything was wrestled well. The drama was high, and if you didn't know what was gonna happen, it was gonna be disappointing. But because I already knew yun yung nangyari, that Punk screwed Drew over, I was not as disappointed. But yeah, if you heard the previous episode, which is the Weekend Reacts, then you would know na I wish it didn't go down this way. But it was still a good match. Everything was wrestled in a way that Drew looked really, really good, even though we don't really need that because we know he's already good. But it is the way it is.
Yeah, they have chemistry. Drew and
they do. Yeah,
they have chemistry in the ring, and they showed in the match. I love that shot, by the way, of the Punk coming in where nakatalikod yung camera kay Punk when he was doing the count, and then after it was revealed na nakaganito si Punk, naka number 2. It was revealed that it was him, and nung nakita siya ni Drew,
diba, nung naka-slick back na yung hair nung guy.
Diba? But still, it was a reveal for the people watching at home. Oh shit, it was Punk. And again, we already talked about the result. I mean, again, like I said, I was fine with Punk interfering. The match itself, aside from that, again, agreeing with what Rose said, the match was really good. I think Damian earned his stripes here as the champion because coming in, a lot of people were still kind of skeptical of him as the World Heavyweight Champion. But this one, I think he proved himself that he is a world champion caliber, and going up against Drew McIntyre, who's one of the main event talents in WWE. He was able to hang with one of the best, and that's a big stamp of approval for Damian Priest.
All right. So there, those are our picks of the week. And if you want to join the conversation, as always, you know where to find us, right? It is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and on Twitter. Individually, if you want to share some matches or your favorite wrestling content with us, it is at EML_Meister, at RhodesWar, at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper and everyone over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. We got to get out of here, so we will catch you on Thursday for our live stream episode on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. It's the Wrestling Podcast, Thursday at 7 p.m. In the meantime, we got to get out of here. For Ro Moran and Emil Nate, as well as Chino Liao and Rowan ASH, my name is Stan C. This has been another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Stay safe, stay dry, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast, out.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.